So here's a sight that whoever lives with you probably never wants to see. Honey, I'm home, and look what I picked up next to a dead animal behind a dumpster. And I got the perfect spot for it too, right smack dab in the center of our living room. When people come over, they're gonna love it. When it comes to things that only retro gamers understand, a 100 to 300 pound CRT television from decades past ought to do the trick. 240p, scan lines, light gun game compatible, perfect blacks, virtually no input lag. These are the kind of buzzwords that can make a retro gamer want to slap their pants and do their favorite dance. But for people who aren't into retro gaming, it can be a harder sell. They may already think it's strange enough that we like to play older games, but whatever, it's not their problem, it's our problem. Well, folks, it's time to make your problem somebody else's problem with a giant piece of technology's glory days. However, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, it doesn't necessarily have to be a problem, right? Yeah, that's right. If somebody likes you, then they'll often support what you're passionate about. But even if that is the case, supporting your hobby isn't always limitless. Maybe they don't mind you having a CRT, but only if it's in a specific place. And that place is often anywhere except for where it can be seen. That's right, hide your CRT. Well, hiding some things are easier than others. You want to hide something like a game cartridge, no problem, you just stash it in a drawer. But a CRT, it's a little trickier. Not to mention, it needs to be set up somewhere that you can actually use it, which is gonna be where your games are. Naturally, if you have a dedicated room for your games, this problem may not be so much of one, but anywhere else and whoever you live with may not be as happy to have it around as you. Now, if you live alone, then problem solved, and if you don't give a darn what the people you live with think, then problem solved as well, I guess. I mean, you could openly blast farts around your home because it's what works best for you, but your popularity might take a hit as a result. Well, if you are looking to give the people you live with a reason why you have your CRT TV, other than because I like it, I got some good ones for you. The reasons I mentioned before, like scan lines and 240p resolution, might just go over their heads or not really resonate, but how about this? While CRT TVs may be viewed as old, bulky crap furniture, the days of that being the case are numbered, and more as time goes on, they will be considered a novelty item. Heck, they're already becoming harder to get than they used to be, their numbers are dwindling, and the cost of the parts that would be required to make them nowadays as an affordable specialty item is unrealistic. The only reason they ever existed is because they were produced on such a massive scale that the parts were also produced on a massive scale to match, bringing their costs down. Now, maybe something will come along that tries to replicate CRTs in some way, but either way, the old CRT TVs will still be novel. Now, I doubt that this would make whoever you're living with say, hey, forget a retirement fund, let's start collecting CRTs. But hopefully it can at least upgrade their opinion out of the someone's old bulky crap furniture tier. Another thing you can point out is that it's not just you who's into these TVs. It's a thing with retro gamers, of which there are many. But you may or may not have much luck with this argument. An argument that you'll probably have better luck with is something that pretty much everyone can get behind. Exercise! Finally, there's a decent way to get some quality exercise. You can deadlift it, do some good old squats, or if you really want to go for it, try the overhead press. And if the sights of this doesn't win over the household, then the sounds of it certainly will. And then the next time you go to the gym, say, does this place have a CRT TV that I can lift or what? However, I do realize that CRT TV exercise is not going to be for everybody. In fact, in general, the idea is to move it around as little as possible. To help with this, you want to figure out a spot that you can put it before you put it there. None of this let's just see how it looks here nonsense. No. You gotta decide, and when it comes to this, there's a few key considerations you'll want to make. First thing is obviously the size. If possible, you'll want to measure the CRT as well as wherever it's going to make sure that it fits. If you go to move a CRT and you can't put it down where you want to put it down, when you want to put it down, talk about panic. Your strength may give out and you end up putting it down where you don't want to put it down, which could be booyah baby right on your feet or any number of bad situations. The second key consideration you'll want to make is the weight of the CRT. A CRT can't go on a diet, so whatever it weighs, you're stuck with. Not only for carrying it, but also for whatever furniture you're putting it on. Keep in mind that some modern furniture is not designed with CRTs in mind, and if anything was ever going to make a piece of furniture collapse on itself, CRTs would be just the thing to do the job. But as for moving it, yeah, popular solution is to just have multiple people carry it. But whether you're carrying it yourself or with somebody else to your home or within your home, have it planned out. Dropping a CRT TV is just not something you want happening. You need to make sure you have enough strength and energy to transfer it successfully. Heck, pack a snack if you have to. Shoot, I forgot to peel it first. Well, that certainly never stopped me before. You'll definitely want to make sure your CRT works before you move it anywhere too. Okay, so earlier I mentioned how your CRT is going to most likely be placed near all the retro game consoles that you're going to hook up to it. I think that's something we can easily all agree on. Well, bearing that in mind, when you're deciding to put a CRT somewhere, you'll want to make sure you can put your CRT somewhere where it's within reach of being connected to all of your consoles. If you already have the wires from your consoles ready to be hooked into it, then problem solved. However, because a CRT TV could be, and likely will be, larger than your last TV, you'll need to account for the extra space you'll need. As with most TVs, I find that CRTs do well in corners or against walls. That way they can remain as out of the way as possible. Unfortunately, this also means that something you'll want access to, the inputs on the back of the TV, will also be as out of the way as possible. In a way, it's nice because then you don't have to look at a mess of ugly cords, but it can be an outright nightmare to try to get back there to connect or disconnect some of the inputs. I'm not kidding, one time I literally got stuck back there and had to yell for my wife to come help me out. In any case, if possible, you'll want to hook up all your cables before you push the TV all the way back against the wall or wherever it's going. Again, think wisely about what you want to have connected so that you can just hook it up once and then forget about it. Of course, you most likely will inevitably need to get back in there at some point, and it'll be a hassle, but I'm sure you'll find a way to get in there. Where there's a will, there's a way. And really, I think that's what it comes down to for putting a CRT in your home. Sure, in some cases you may just not have the space to put one anywhere or simply don't want one. I totally get that. But in a lot of cases, I think the people we live with understand how passionate we are about retro games, and with enough determination and creative planning, we can figure out a place to put one. I thought I could never have one, and then realized I could just stick it in the corner of my game room, which is not very big, mind you, but I love it and it's worth it. Alright, but with that, I'd imagine a lot of you have some really good stories about finding a place for a CRT TV in your home, as far as where you put it and what the people you live with think of it. And for those of you who have multiple CRT TVs, I'm just assuming you have a dedicated room that you're able to put them all in. Does it get hot in there? My single CRT TV can really get my game room cooking. Whatever the case may be, I'd love to hear what y'all have to say, so leave those comments and I will see ya in the next video.
He's the retro bird, yeah, and he's talking about video games. He's the retro